up, y'all? We down here. It's Friday. Let's talk about Shay and them, child. It's windy. I love a good fall windy morning. I love it. It's windy. Not windy Ofeso. I almost got her last name is almost like Tamar's ex-fiance, huh? So let's talk. We're talking about Shay. I had to watch it twice. Shay on Fix My Life with Iyanla Van Zandt. To me, I don't know. I had a lot of feelings. I watched it a second time and I was like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what. At first, I don't know. Let me get my notes. Hopefully everybody is okay. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let the diva know you stopped by. All right, let's talk. I took some notes on my phone. I was watching it and tweeting as I took it from my phone. Oh yeah, here are the notes. They're right on here. So they introduced Shay and her mother Sandra. It's so funny when I'm watching reviews. People don't know whether to call her Sandra or Sandra, and that's so funny. That's my mother's name. It's Sandra. And so some people used to call her Sandra, and then some people call her Sandra. It just depends. It's funny. And so they introduce her and Shay, and she takes them into this room with these fun mirrors, these fun house mirrors, right? And so the fun house mirrors are distorted, and both of her and her mother said very positive things about themselves. They uplifted themselves amidst distortion. And that didn't sit well with Iyanla. I don't think that was going according to what her process was. So Iyanla admits to the mother at first that she was a horrible mother, and Iyanla is very open about that. And she says, but I'm a better grandmother, right? And I think about that a lot of the times, that parents often get a second chance when their children have children to be better grandparents than they were. But unfortunately, sometimes the parent doesn't feel like how they raised the child was damaging to the child, so they continue to operate in the same way when they're dealing with their grandchildren. And I would suggest anybody, if you notice that, if you're a type of person who has a strained relationship with their parents and you have children and you want your children to have grandparents in their lives, you have to ask yourself, are they going to treat my children the same way they treated me? And by allowing that, is that allowing a cycle of toxicity to continue, to be imprinted in another generation of children? And you have to make that decision, and sometimes it's hard. I'm speaking from a personal place, and sometimes it's hard because sometimes parents don't become good grandparents. They just become parent 2.0 with the same bullshit that they raised you with and parented you with. And if you didn't like the way that you were parented and you had to grow up and reparent yourself, you probably don't want to create an imprint on your children. Just saying. Iyanla tells the mother, all three of your children have problems with you. Of course, she doesn't think her sons have problems with her. Of course. Why would her sons have problems? Because I gave her hell. I didn't give the sons hell. I just didn't raise them. I let the streets raise them, and look how they turned out. I got a lot of personal things to say to inject in here, but let me stay on this. She said all three of your children have issues with you. She says one of the worst things that a parent can do is compare their children to each other. And I know, parents, when you have several children, And you may say one thing about the child to the other sibling and be like, you know what your sister did, or you know what your brother did, and you have those conversations. But when you start making comparisons in the children, realizing that each of those children are individual people, it just does a disservice, and it creates an air of competitiveness that, if it's not managed correctly, can become really toxic between the siblings when you start doing that comparison shit. I said baby boomer parents never want to hear criticism about how they failed at parenting. They never remember things they said or said to their children, nor do they never admit it. And that was a trigger for me. A lot of what I saw, I could see I recognized a lot of stuff that I saw on the screen. I recognized Shay. I could understand, although I don't really care for her personality, I can understand why she had an attitude, even though it was a lot. And Shay has always been rewarded for having a bad attitude. So sometimes I think that she believes that she has to have a bad attitude in order for people to engage with her, because she's been rewarded since Flavor of Love for having a bad attitude. And she has. And she seems like she's walking around with a chip on her shoulder. But you have to think about it. You're dealing with a mother who is not going to admit that she called you a demon from hell. Now, they cut up the tape or whatever, but like Iyanla said, if you didn't say it, we couldn't show it. You said it. Whether you said hell or whether you said demon, whether it was together, and then for your sons to come back and co-sign and be like, it's like she has the devil in her, or the demon in her. It's like, Shay is this awful person. She told Shay to be open and willing to be wrong. I just wrote bad attitude. She had a bad attitude from the jump. Now, it was Shay who actually called. Now, I don't know if Shay actually called to say, hey, we can make a quick coin on Iyanla. We can go on Iyanla and say, like, let her fix our lives. I can act a fool, because that's what I do, and y'all can get a little check, and you can come here and do a little yang, yang, yang down here. You know what I'm saying? And then we can walk off with our check. I don't have to stay or anything like that. I really don't have to put into much anything. We could just go get a quick bag right quick. We have problems with our mother or whatever. Let's just do that. She probably, I don't know, maybe that was her motivation, because she was really quick to like flip, Iyanla told her, you're going to be mad at me by the end of the day. She's like, no, I won't, girl. Okay. So she introduces her brother, Joe, who calls himself Dr. Joe, and MJ. And we know MJ from Love and Hip Hop Miami. And he was mooching off of and leeching off of, what's her name? Amara La Negra. Right? And so we know who he is. And so we know he ain't about shit. And we see that Joe ain't about shit either in his marriage, right? Because they struggling financially. Isn't that what the lady said? And she's taking care of everything. You got a Letitia Marceau situation around here. And then let me say, she didn't mean any harm. It was just tough love, right? So the mother is demonstrating what typically happens in these types of households, where the mother is doing every single thing. So her time is spent on ensuring the children don't die in her care. So she does everything she needs to do and forgets to show them and water them and nurture them and show them love, right? And pay attention to them. So they don't know how to express love. And so now, because I don't know if you guys have really agreed that the way that you're parented is gonna be reflective, unless you unlearn and relearn and come up with some new ways to relate to people. The way that your parents deal with you and relate to you, and the way they relate to each other, is going to translate into your interpersonal relationships. It just are. And sometimes in your business relationships too, and how you just deal with people on a whole. It comes from your caregivers and your parents, or your parents, whoever they were. MJ left home at 15. So to me, I feel like, did she do well? If your son left out of the house at 15 years old, they're still dependent on you for their survival. If they leave and to make a decision to survive on their own, how well did you do? How well do you think you did to where your sons don't have a problem with you? And then they said my father showed love more than my mom did. And he was away. Yeah, he was away. He didn't have to do nothing. I'm going to show love every single time if I ain't got to do shit. He don't have to do nothing. Nothing. He calls and he plays good cop. He probably sends them a little money every now and again, a little $5, a little $10 every now and again. You know what I'm saying? A little toy maybe. But they feel like they put him on a pedestal, and the mother, who is hardworking, probably dealing with this nigga's shit, and then now you left with not one, not two, but 3 children that you have to take care of. 2 is hard. I feel like 3 with a single mother of 3, baby, I'd probably be drunk every day. Like, I just don't know how people can do that. It's hard to do 2 children by yourself with no support, no nothing, and then to turn around and then your children grow up to be adults and have these rose-colored glasses on about their father. It took me until I was in my mid-30s to be like, oh, you really ain't shit about my dad, because I was the same way. And my grandmother used to always say, I'll never forget it, rest her soul. I will never forget it. She used to tell me, you see your father with rose-colored glasses, right? Now I got lavender-colored glasses. But you see your father with rose-colored glasses, and one day, she used to tell me this. My grandmother never said nothing negative about my father. Nothing. And I put my father on a pedestal. Why? Because when I was with him, it was fun. When I was with my mom, she was handing down whoopings and handing down verbal abuse and handing down just a bunch of fucking confusion and shit. That I looked at him, I was like, oh, Dad. But then I grew up and I realized, oh, no, nigga, you really ain't shit. Like my grandmother, she never said you wasn't shit. But baby, she tried. She never said, she just said, one day you gonna take them off. And I did. And she was dead, long dead before that happened. And that's what happened. And that's what happens a lot of times. The father does not, as a parent, part of your job, right? Support, uplift, encourage. Then there's also structure, boundaries, discipline. Right? That you have to make sure that children maintain in order to survive without you when it's time. Right? And a lot of that times comes with correction and reinforcement and correction and reinforcement and correction. No, you can't do that. No. So now you look like you the goddamn fucking drill sergeant. But when daddy calls, it's all like lollipops and rainbows. So they put daddy on a pedestal. But where is your father? He abandoned you. He abandoned you. He left. He left your mom and left you and only called and showed you love, and it was enough for you guys to put your dad on a pedestal. But he ain't even here to support y'all. Where he's at? Where he at? Where he at? How did you manage relationships, MJ and Joe? He's like, I didn't see relationships. So you're saying as a man that you didn't see relationships, but yet and still you want to enter a relationship with someone like Amara La Negra, and you've never seen a good relationship modeled, so you are just gonna not unlearn what you've learned, but you're gonna practice on somebody. Joe said his marriage is in trouble. He didn't really want to admit it, and she was like, but your marriage is in trouble, right? And he was like, well, yeah, it is, yeah. So he said the mother was emotionally absent, not sharing with her how they feel about what she's done. Now, I really wasn't too keen on Iyanla. Iyanla could be male identified too sometimes. And I think she does it because she knows that black men are not allowed to or provided space to access emotions outside of anger. So I feel like she does a lot of coddling on when the men come on the show. She does. And I feel like she was doing that. And I wasn't too keen on them being allowed to sit there and talk about Shay and the mother. And then Shay and the mother have to listen to these 2 niggas who ain't shit talk to them and tell them what they've done wrong or how they experience them. And Shay not get to talk, which is the problem. People who are like that, people who are always saying, I don't know if you can recognize it in your family or whatever. So people who are saying, I have an opinion. I have an opinion and I should be able to say it. I have an opinion. Those are people who are silenced in other aspects of their life. When they have to push you into accepting their opinion or listening to and force, I got an opinion. It's my opinion. It's people who are typically unheard in other aspects of their life. And that's the problem with Shay. And to me, I felt like Iyanla should have been like, this is what we are going to do. I'm going to walk you in here with your brothers and allow them to tell you how they've experienced you. Now, I'm not going to let you talk until later. So just listen. Like, she didn't prep her like she prepped the mom. And I don't know if she wanted to see conflict at that moment, but Shay is the type of person who, as I'm walking away, I'm over my shoulder talking shit to you. I could understand why she did that, because I don't know what this process is you got going on. And all my life, I've had to sit and I had to work and be more successful than these two niggas right here. And you letting these two niggas talk shit to me. No, we're not about to do this. I think Iyanla just messed up right there. I think she really should have explained to Shay what she was doing and not basically trigger her. That's what she did, was trigger her to me. She told the mom she didn't own her stuff. Shay also tried to absolve the father. Iyanla said, your mother didn't make you by herself. There was a man there. Why didn't he save you from her? If you was having all these problems with your mother and your father, the goddamn superhero, why he didn't save you from the mom? Why he didn't take y'all and take care of y'all? Why? Okay. Why didn't he treat her better so she can be better for you? Yes, please hold the absent father accountable. I think it's only right. You still gotta, your parents parented two people. It's not just always on the mother. It's not just always on the mother. Son said it's hard to talk to their moms. A lot of black children feel like that. A lot of ethnic groups, the parenting style is very much hierarchical. So the children are raised to fear, not respect, but fear their parents. So much so that they can't even express how they feel about how their parent is treating them. That's still my mama. Yeah, but she's not treating you right. So why can't you say to her, hey, lady, we're both adults now. You cannot do this. You cannot act like this. You're going to have to draw new boundaries as you grow up into adult children with your parents who you're afraid to share how they made you feel. And a lot of black children feel like that. A lot of Latino, a lot of Southeast Asian, a lot of Asians. I mean, just outside, probably white too. Shit. You got parents that just like, you're afraid to say how you feel, and that's not a good relationship. If you're parenting your children not to be able to sit and be honest with you about how you're treating them, about how you're showing up in their life, then to me, that's an aspect of your parenting where you failed. If your children can't be honest and share with you and be authentic with you. Fear-based parenting. That's a lot of people parent like that. I want my child to fear me. So Shay and Sandra, I put Shay and Sandra were the bad guys. The men were coddled. All right? It's not natural to say we have issues. I don't want to go against my mom. And she's like, well, you're standing up for yourself. And it's sad. Think about it. You standing up for yourself, you defending yourself is deemed as disrespectful to your parent. Think about that. I need to stick up for myself. And when I'm standing up and sticking up for myself, you feel that that's disrespectful to you because I'm defending myself? That's not good. And a lot of people have that experience. You can't say nothing to your parent without them being like, oh, you being disrespectful? I remember, I'll tell you a story. I remember, I think I was like probably 16 or 17, probably 16 or 17. And my mom was, when she got angry, she was just angry. And when she went to try to hit me, and I was done, it was the day I was like, this lady cannot put her hands on me. I'm tired of this lady putting her motherfucking hands on me. I'm tired of it. You hear me? And so one day she went to hit me, and my mom we were about the same height, but she just always seemed smaller than me. I don't know why, but she always just seemed smaller than me. And I grabbed her wrist. And when I grabbed her wrist in defense of myself, she said, "Oh, you trying to hit me?" So you mean to tell me in order to not disrespect you, I have to allow you to beat me? Them niggas is crazy. And it's a lot of parents like that. I'm sure y'all can get down in the comments and say it. MJ and Shay haven't talked. Joe says she thinks she's more than she thinks she is. And it's weird that the men are allowed to say what they want about the women. No one could say nothing about MJ. We didn't even get on MJ. We only got on MJ as it relates to his relationship with his brother. We didn't get on MJ. I didn't see the part. I mean, I don't know. I was in and out. But we didn't really get on MJ. Like, you're not having successful relationships. What's going on with you? And all he got out was, I didn't see relationships. So you didn't see relationships, so that means you can go around and practice your bullshit on other women? Just go through other women and just practice your fuck shit? Anyway, they told her, you're rude and disrespectful. Didn't I tell you that? Didn't I tell you was rude and disrespectful? Yeah, okay. Now I feel like I'm being attacked. I understood what Shay was talking about. She was mad already. Shay was mad already. Like I said, that's part of her character that she's been paid for the last 10 years. So it's part of who she is. She come in with an attitude, mouth all pent up and shit. You understand? So then she said, you're not rude, you're not direct, you're rude and disrespectful. I think a lot of people believe their directness is just being direct. No, you rude. Shay, you rude. You rude. You're rude. You're rude every time I see you interact with people. You're rude. And you're just rude. And could this be because of how, I mean, like, to me, I feel like she's rude because she gets paid to be rude. That's how I feel about it. When she was walking away, she told one brother, you're entitled, and the other one, you think you know everything. I assume the one who thinks he knows everything is Dr. Dr. Joe. And I'm sure the one who feels entitled is MJ. She didn't say who. She just said, you feel entitled, and you think you know everything. So I don't know who she was talking about, child. And she was like, I can't say something. They get to point the finger at me. Am I going to be able to speak? And then she's like, that's not part of the healing process. Listen, I think what you did, Iyanla, was trigger her. You triggered her. You should have told her. So to me, you were just mimicking like the behavior that she doesn't like her mother for. Like, you get to talk to me any kind of way. Other people get to say whatever they want to say to me, and I don't get to say anything. I don't get to say nothing. I have an opinion. Let me talk. Because y'all silence Shay, right? That's why. Let me shut up. She's saying your hearing and vision is distorted. She wanted them to see the distortions, right? Where we know that historically, we just get used to seeing past things that we don't want to see, right? For some people, it's their way to cope. They just ignore the distortions. Whatever it looks like, I'm going to look past the distortion, and I'm going to see a woman who's self-made, strong, blah, 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 whatever other adjective you want to add. I'm going to look past the distortion, right? Because I've been dealing with distortions all my fucking life. So when I look in the mirror, if it's distorted, I'm going to look past it. Because everyone else look at me distorted. So I might as well see myself as self-made or whatever else, whatever other words Shay said. Shay got mad and was like, man, you're weird, whatever. And then Iyanla was like, you don't get to heal. You don't get to heal. You're dishonoring your word. And then she was like, I'm not with this process. I don't agree with this process. It looks like it's on some intervention shit. I didn't get the intervention. I just think that Iyanla didn't explain and she didn't set up the whole exercise correctly. They're outside in the car and she's telling Iyanla, fuck your process. And then Iyanla told her, you looking like a fool. Like, to me, I felt like Iyanla, you really just stepped into her mother's shoes. You really did. And I'm sure that's how she engages with her mother. You're an older woman. I'm sure that's how she engages with her mother. You know, you a fool. You a fool. Said they're shutting her up and that's her issue, feeling unheard. And it's a disservice not telling the truth to your family, Iyanla says. And they feel like the behavior that Shay demonstrated is normal. That's something that they see. So that kind of says they see that with Shay and the mother. Because, of course, the mother doesn't have a problem with the sons. She only has a problem with the daughter. The sons are treated differently. The sons are, the mother checks her, right? She checks her and they don't tell Shay what she's doing. MJ says he just leaves and Shay, and then what's his name says he just goes to work or something. Dr. Dinero comes in and says these are insights into patterns that Shay said that she wanted to work on. And when you are in the process of fixing those patterns and you're triggered, it makes you angry and afraid. And then she says, if you always feel wrong, you'll always fight to be right. And that was a great observation because you listen to people, and I used to operate in the same way because the way I was raised, if I'm talking from a paternal standpoint, is very competitive. My father he was very competitive. My father was the type that if he played like checkers with you, he would play checkers with me, would not let me win. Or would like be real competitive with me. And you don't have to, I'm talking about as a 4, 5, 6-year-old child. I'm not talking about as an adult, right? So he would really play, I would lose, and I would get angry and throw and have a physical outward angry reaction and throw the checkerboard up in the air, checker pieces flying all over the place, and my dad would laugh. And now you've made your child angry and you find humor in that, right? So I was always trying to feel like, and with him, it was always like you had to be right about whatever the argument was. His goal was to be right, right? And so I, in turn, adopted that, debate style or argument style or conflict style. I had to be right. I had to be right. I'm telling y'all, the way that your parents deal with you, you're going to take that into your relationships. I don't care. Your caregiver, parents, parent, guardian, foster parent, whoever is your caregiver, you take those things that you learned into your relationships. And I did that until I realized, you know what? I don't have to be right. Sometimes I just need to be understood, and sometimes I need to understand the other person. And you have to unlearn that. You always got to be right in some in a confrontational situation. It doesn't go over well. And people are not going to want to talk to you. They just not, because you're always going to enter the argument with the objective to win, not to understand. And that's a lot of people have that problem. I mean, I see that in the damn comments. Hell, Iyanla said something weird like bow to my throne. She's not going to be able to, I don't know what she was talking about with Shay. The mother said when she's confronted with what her children, how they receive her or how they experience her, she says that's not true. And a lot of parents do that. And I'm sure that you can tell your parents something that happened that's something they did to you in childhood, and they say to you, that's not how that happened. No, that didn't happen. You're like, yes, it did. Yes, it did. What are you telling me? And it's like a dismissal or a dismissal of how you felt in that moment. And you can't even share it with them because they won't acknowledge it as the truth. And that's a problem. Because she had an exercise where she had to go write down, the favorite things of her children. What are your children's favorite things? And she didn't know. And she was like, well, I wonder if they know my favorite things. Well, did you share with them? And MJ said, well, we really didn't do a lot of talking in the house. So the mom was dealing with her shit, trying to raise kids with no support, right? And I don't know if we really got into her story that much. It was more so your kids have problems with you, and here it is, right? And like Shay, your brothers and your mother has a problem with you, and here it is. Like, the women were asked to be corrected. Now, when we got to Joe and his wife, it was the typical situation. She's doing more in the household than he's emotionally absent and learned it from his mother, and he's now imprinting that on his children, who will in turn grow up and have to unlearn the bullshit that they learned from their father, that they learned from their grandmother. You got to learn how to hold each other accountable without blaming each other. So MJ and Joe, they're sitting there at the table, very performative. It was fake to me. I was like, why are they giving each other fake hugs? They had their arms around each other. It was very unnatural, the way that they were embracing each other, and they were doing it for the show. But he said, didn't see nothing different. My mother blows things off. She sees Shay as a bad person. And was it safe for them to tell the truth to their mother? And they said no, it wasn't. And they were like, and then Iyanla said, the problem isn't Shay. The problem isn't Shay. That's not the issue. It's all of y'all. You just act out differently. And Shay acts out and expresses herself in an outward expression. Y'all just as fucked up as Shay. Y'all ain't no better than Shay. Y'all came from the same mama and daddy, right? But Shay, now I know she's self-made. I don't know much about Shay Johnson, but what I've seen on television, I don't follow her nowhere. Okay, so I don't know what she does. She says she's self-made. Some other people say that Shay, has done well for herself. I didn't even like Iyanla telling Shay to cover up, because you already put me on a defense. Like, why do I need to cover up? Why can't I just sit here the way that I am and you accept me as I arrive here for who I am? Don't tell me to cover up. If this is who I am and this is how I express myself, don't make me feel uncomfortable if I'm supposed to be coming to you for help. Don't make me feel uncomfortable and tell me that there's men in here, so I have to cover myself up. Once again, you worried about these niggas. See, that's the reason why I didn't want to talk about this, because I didn't like how Iyanla was doing, and she always does that. Like, shout out to Iyanla for the work that she does, but I do not like when she coddles the men. I don't like it. I just don't like it, because that coddling comes from a lack of wherever, right? We understand that what happens to little black boys, and how little black boys are socialized, and how a lot of them are not allowed to access any emotion besides anger. And so you want to baby them, but when they become adults and you still want to baby them like little boys, that doesn't create good relation. They can't be good to anybody else. All they're going to do is look for a mama. All they're doing is looking for a mother instead of healing the shit with their mother. And the shit is, I don't know what to call it. It's so annoying. It really is. It really is. But she says, y'all all the problem. Shay acts out, MJ leaves, and Joe leaves. The mother never showed verbal and physical love, is what they're telling their mom. MJ is trying to push tears out. I didn't have an older brother to guide me. Daddy wasn't there. Am I good enough? And then they go to Joe and his wife. And again, it's the typical shit. She has the bricks on, and he ends up bowing down to her feet, which he should have been doing before. And she's sitting up crying, and the typical shit. There are so many parents who don't think boys really need love and affection from them. They're unintentionally conditioning them to turn into what the men before them were emotionally unavailable and simply lacking feminine energy. Most parents allow society to raise their male-identified children. And I don't understand how we can't see how it's such a detriment to our community as a whole. We should raising boys without nurturing energy and wonder why men can't have relationships that don't cause another woman pain. Joe's wife told him, I need to be small so you can be the center. Isn't that what's going on? What's going on with Melody and Martell? Martell wanted to be the center of the world while he spent a half of his marriage in a relationship with another woman and still wanted Melody to center him. If Melody had centered him the way he wanted to, Melody would be stuck in that marriage. But she went out and got her own shit so she didn't have to be stuck. So the decisions that she made to have another baby, we could say you're silly for that because you had an opportunity to leave. You had your own and you should have left. This man has been with another woman for half of your marriage, a relationship. You a sister fucking wife. What didn't Tony Braxton's mother say? If you don't leave your nigga after he cheats, you become the other woman. So he ended up bowing down to her and kissing her feet or whatever. I'm glad they apologized to Shay. She came in there. She saw some flowers on the table. She was like, why my flowers dead? They're dead. And the brother was like, listen, because Iyanla, when Iyanla left, she told her, I don't want to talk to you. Iyanla said, I don't want to talk to you or whatever. When you come back, you don't get to talk to me. I didn't give you permission to talk to me like that. You was rude and disrespectful. But I felt like you didn't offer her the same coddling and someplace soft to land that you did for these niggas in the room. The same babying y'all doing to these men, y'all not babying Shay. Shay needs to be babied too. Maybe she won't be so fucking mad all the time. Hello? Maybe she needs somebody to hug her ass. Y'all always want to put the niggas' heads in your laps. What about the women? Put their heads in your lap sometimes. Rub their head. Tell them it's going to be fucking okay. God damn it. I just got pissed. Shit. I don't think that they probably kept it up. The mother she was doing a lot of performative things. She told the mother, if they say something to you that you don't like, I hear you. I understand you. And it was funny because she tried to apply the tools that she was just given when she was on the phone with Shay, trying to get Shay to come back. Okay, I hear you, Shay. I'm listening to you. You're not going to be by yourself and all this other stuff. I was like, lady. That lady, let me tell you something. She might have been all right for about 4 weeks, but then she reverted right back to what she was doing with her children. I'm willing to bet you that. I'm willing to bet you that Shay and her brothers and her mother are right back to where they were in the beginning. Y'all let me know what y'all think of the episode. What you get in the comments, what you think about what I said, what your opinions are. Do you think that the men were coddled and the women were demonized? And do you think that Iyanla should have told Shay what the process was so that Shay wouldn't be triggered by not feeling heard and then act out in the way that she does? Do you think that the mother was going to keep up? Do you think that the mother was honest in her reflection? What do you guys think? All right, let's get down in the comments. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Today is Friday. I can't believe that today is Friday. Probably because I didn't make so many videos this week. We'll be back on our regular schedule. Maybe I'll come down here tomorrow, depending on what transpires today. But we'll talk soon. All right, peace.